For the dogs or for the trash? That is the question of the day. Drake's new album has been leaving people with a lot of speculations and observations in terms of his career and the trajectory of where his career is going. And I think we should go ahead and talk about that in today's video. So in case you all do not know, For the Dogs by Drake has just released. I mean, unless you're under a rock, you know this. And For the Dogs is his 8th studio album. For the Dogs has over 23 songs, so it's quite lengthy, it's quite long. And it has features from Sexy Red, Lil Yachty, Bad Bunny, Chief Keef, Party Next Door, SZA, J. Cole, 21 Savage, you know, these pretty well-known names, I will say. And the features on the album is pretty good. I can't complain about the features. Now, the actual songs itself, they have been causing quite the controversy online. People are just kind of not happy with it. But before I get into that, I kind of want to just get into the actual name of the album. This album was supposed to be an album for all the dogs, and Drake claimed that we were going to be getting old Drake on this album. And that it hasn't really lived up to that potential. When you say old Drake, you know, we're talking about Best I Ever Had, we're talking about Headlines, we're talking about old Drake. I mean, like Shut It Down, Take Care. We're talking about the vintage Drake. And when you already give your fans that expectation of it being this old Drake vibe, we have our standards high. I mean, high. And I don't think that anybody really thought that it would be a bad album. You know, it's Drake. But after a few plays and a few listens of the full album, social media and a lot of critics have really ranked this album as one of Drake's worst albums. A lot of music publication companies have left their reviews and left their critics' reviews on this album, and it is ranked as Drake's lowest ranked album. And it's not just because of the fans, it's an actual statistic from these critics. Now, a lot of these songs do sound a bit dragged out. A lot of the songs on For the Dogs sound like one long sentence. It doesn't really have any type of special, unique twist or change in the song. And if it is a change in the song, it's an abrupt, complete 180 change in the entire track. And it just kind of has you confused. Like, we're going with this vibe, but then we switch the vibe over again. But then if we don't switch at all, it's just this one long sentence, and the sentence doesn't have any variation to it. Now, the album itself is kind of long, like I said earlier, and the album is too long to have songs feel like a run-on sentence. It just feels like the album kept going and going and going. But what I will say is I do think that this For the Dogs album is definitely Drake's most chill and mellow album that he's released in a while. I don't think that he's ever had an album this calm like that. Honestly, Nevermind was quite, you know, hype, exciting, and had a lot of house aspects of the music. And a lot of people are wondering, has Drake's music just become lazy? And is Drake just getting by because he's Drake? You know, seems like he's not putting any energy in none of the songs. And I kind of agree with that narrative somewhat, because I do think that some of the songs have bars. Some of the raps are actually pretty decent. They're pretty good. You know, you can actually hear it and be like, oh, I caught that, you know. But in terms of the overall aesthetic of the album, the songs feel unfinished, and the songs just feel like they were slapped together in like 2 minutes on GarageBand. A lot of people feel like Drake has just gotten to a point where he's comfortable. They feel like Drake knows that whatever he puts out will go number one. They know whatever he makes will go number one. Drake can literally put out a track of him farting on a song, and that song will go number one next day because it's Drake. And I think Drake knows this. I think Drake knows he doesn't have to try as hard anymore. And there should be a sense of not trying as hard anymore as a veteran in the industry, because Drake is a vet. But when it just comes off as lazy, I don't think it rubs off on people well. And a lot of it feels lazy. I mean, yes, Drake is top 10 on Billboard, on Spotify, on Apple Music, but the quality of those tracks, are they really top 10 worthy? I don't really think that we can always value the success of a song because it's number one on Billboard, because it's number one on an album, because it's number one on Spotify. I don't think that really justifies the quality of the music. And that's why I feel like bringing up the number one's game is not really a valid argument, because if we're being honest here, Drake hasn't had a real number one hit that actually was a culture shock since God's Plan. Every other number one since then, in my opinion, has just been a song that came and gone. I don't think that any of the songs since God's Plan has stuck like that. And that doesn't mean that all his songs since Scorpion or since God's Plan is bad. I'm just saying that you can't use numbers and chartings as a reference of good songs. Also, people are blaming the downfall of this album for the Dogs due to him having too many releases of albums. They feel like there's not enough time in between for Drake to grow as an artist. They feel like Drake has not grown as an artist since 2018. They feel like a lot of the tracks that he's put out, a lot of the songs he's on, a lot of the, features he gets on just sound the same. Like they have the same copy and paste flow, same copy and paste beat, that same, if you know what I'm talking about, that 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023 Drake just sounds the same. And it's kind of hard to explain unless you actually listen to Drake and you get it. But a part of me kind of will have to agree with the fact that I think he does release too many albums back to back to back. When you spend more time in between an album, it gives you more time to like catch a vibe. It gives you more time to like, get some more experiences in between albums. The only album that I will say is an exception from that is Honestly Nevermind. Honestly Nevermind, in my opinion, is the most artistic that Drake has been on an album in a while. And that album is not really critically acclaimed like that. People actually hate it. They think that it's just music for like, white people clubs. But I like to see Drake when he gets out of his comfort zone. I do love to see when he puts on these different characters in his songs and does different things. But when he releases an album like For the Dogs and everything sounds the same and it's just these long run-on sentences in the album, it just seems like it's just not really evolving to anything. Like we're just still stuck. Like it's like, okay, Drake, what's next? And in my opinion, what's next for Drake should be retirement. I think that retirement is what Drake needs, or a long break. We need Drake to go on a break because I feel like that will just garner up more time for him to get some new creative juices flowing. It will just give him more time for people to just miss him. Because if you're releasing an album every 2 days, we're not missing you like that. And Drake himself has hinted at retirement. He has said that he's going to focus on retiring soon, but I don't think he's going to be gone forever. I think he just may be gone for a very, very long time because I don't think Drake doesn't love music. I think he genuinely loves making music. But the only way to grow as an artist is by getting out of your comfort zone. And I think Drake has gotten comfortable. Drake has gotten to a point where he feels like he doesn't have to try as hard. He knows that people will eat it up anyway. And I think that the fans are just kind of getting tired of that. Well, when I say fans, I don't mean Drake's diehard fans, because Drake's diehard fans, they're going to love anything he puts out. I mean like general lovers of music and rap. They're tired of the generic Drake sound now. It just becomes played out. Moving forward from Drake, if he does do another album, I think he needs to release it sometime in like 2028. Give us about 5 years to actually miss you, and maybe within that time frame, we're going to have a new fresh sound from Drake and a new vibe and a new energy. But hey, I don't know, maybe you do love this new Drake album, and maybe you do love the new Drake sound, and maybe you do love the repetitive aesthetic that Drake has been giving lately. Maybe that does it for you. Maybe it's just enough for you to just vibe out and put your AirPods and listen to music. But we know Drake from being old Drake, and old Drake was a different Drake that we can generally catch a vibe to. If you play any song off of Take Care, Nothing Was the Same, If You're Reading This Is Too Late, Thank Me Later, you're going to catch a vibe. It's just nostalgic. But I don't think any of the songs on Drake's newer albums, you're going to be feeling nostalgic in 5 to 10 years, because they're just not songs to catch a vibe to. It's just songs to listen to while you're driving, or like getting ready to go out, or just you sitting around the house cleaning up. Like I don't like for Drake to be categorized in that category, because he's such a legendary artist. He should be placed into these different categories where when you're really trying to get into your bag and you're trying to like just be in your zone, you put that on. But hey, I mean, I could be wrong. I could kind of be reaching. My point of view may be, I don't know, a bit delusional. But if that's how you feel, comment down below. We can talk about it, we can discuss it, and we can have an open dialogue as to what's really going on with Drake. Is he really in desperate need of retirement, or maybe he just needs a long break? We can discuss it down below. And that's all I have for you in today's video. Thank you so much for watching.